From Assassin's Creed 1 right through to AC3, we entered the Animus through the eyes of Desmond. We learnt more about him, the people surrounding him, and in turn, the state of the world leading up to 2012. Back then, Desmond and the Animus were integral to the story, not just set dressing like it so often feels today. It used to mean something to step into the Animus and relive your own ancestors' memories. So today, let's ask the question, what the hell happened to the Animus? Before Black Flag, the Animus had one big rule. You needed a living person to physically enter it, and that person had to be related by blood to the ancestor you wanted to view. No exceptions. That's why Desmond was so important. He was related to so many important figures from the Assassin's past. Without him, there was no way to access Altair, Ezio, or Connor's memories all from one person. The Animus wasn't just a tool, it was a bridge, and that bridge only worked through personal DNA. Those limitations didn't hold the story back. It gave it weight. It meant these memories had more importance on our modern day hero. They were his ancestors, people who did amazing and in some cases bad things. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate Layla, but her love of history and discovery is not as important as these personal connections. Altair, Ezio, and Connor all meant something to Desmond personally. They were his blood, and they stood for the same ideals that he did. Not to mention the original plan was for Desmond to learn all of the skills of these three ancestors through the bleeding effect, and then take those skills to a modern setting and save the world. The bleeding effect also caused more tension. It could have developed into something terrible. Desmond could have lost his mind like the 16 people before him had. His persona could have merged with that of his ancestors, and he wouldn't know who he truly was. None of that is present today, because they changed how the Animus worked. Every game until Odyssey had a different modern day protagonist. Personally, I think they should have kept a strong modern day hero with an Animus that had to be used by the persons whose DNA it was. Now, just about anyone can use the Animus to relive the memories of anyone, and I just don't find that as interesting or intriguing. In Black Flag, you were just a random Abstergo employee. Unity, just someone using a home entertainment system. And in Shadows, honestly, I don't know what they were aiming for, but it sure isn't very good. But my main point is that having Desmond allowed both the historical story and the modern day story to blend together nicely. AC1 does this perfectly, mirroring Altair's story with Desmond's. None of that works if you're the one playing from home or a random employee. The Animus was a machine and a computer program that allowed you to view your ancestors' memories. Now it's only there for show, as set dressing. I will give Valhalla credit for really trying to do things right. However, the game that came after it, Mirage, was meant to be a return to roots. Now I actually quite like Mirage as a smaller game that I actually got to feel like an assassin in again, but the story and the surrounding lore was pitiful. Mirage makes almost no attempt to even let you know you're in the Animus. You get a short cutscene at the beginning with William Miles talking over it, and then that's it. The game's HUD isn't even Animus themed in the slightest. Nothing ties back into anything from the modern day whatsoever, despite us reliving the memories of a man who has his own memories of being an Isu first, then an assassin in Baghdad, and now living long enough to get the staff and returning to modern day. That is a hell of a resume, and they did nothing towards any of that. How disappointing. If the Animus was being used in its original conception, then maybe this could have been avoided. Mirage was initially supposed to be a DLC for Valhalla, but in Valhalla you end up as Basim in the modern day, so that could have been so cool if he had to physically sit in the chair and relive his own memories. It could have all tied together nicely. If you're enjoying the video, why not subscribe for more Assassin's Creed content? I upload weekly, so come check out some more videos. Thanks! The Animus used to feel so important. It was a piece of the puzzle to which the games were so intrinsically tied. The HUD of the games used to be very heavily Animus themed and always reminded you that you were in a simulation. The sounds it made, the menus, and just the scientific feel it had really immersed you in that sci-fi fantasy. Rebecca, Sean, and Lucy would talk to you through the Animus. Every sequence would load in with glitches and a slow building effect like the Animus was recreating the world from the memories of your ancestors. That shit was cool. Now all of that is toned down in favor of appealing to a mass market who never cared or understood the modern day or the Animus. They just want to go stabby stab in a historical setting. Overarching, amazing storytelling potential be damned. Sure, I understand that, but as someone who adores the older games and craves to relive those amazing moments from previous titles, I just want this series to be what it could be. And in order to do that, it needs to return to what made it so special in the first place. There are thousands of historical games where you can run around doing cool things in an ancient setting, but there is nothing like the original pentology of Assassin's Creed, and the Animus was central to all of that. The modern day plot is divisive for sure, but it had added tension and importance because Desmond had to be there. He had to be the one in the Animus. No one else could do it. It wasn't like they could upload it to a computer and then someone more skilled could do it. No, it had to be the deserter, the bartender, the prisoner of Abstergo. It had to be Desmond. We got to see two characters grow and mature from the same story. Desmond was reliving Altair's memories, and from that story he learnt and grew as a person, just as Altair did. The same events caused both of them to have a similar reaction. If it could have been anyone reliving these memories, that shit wouldn't have mattered. Layla is leagues above random employees or having the player themselves be the modern day protagonist, but she still isn't the same. This all links back to how they changed the Animus. Desmond was dead at the end of AC3. His DNA was harvested, and as a very naive worker bee at Abstergo, we live out the memories of Edward. The Animus could now allow anyone to live out memories as long as it had the DNA of that person. But this is so boring, so unexciting, and just so normal as far as this series goes. Nothing has the same impact, none of it means anything to me. I'm not Edward's descendant, I'm not going to change and learn from his experience, and neither is the mute modern day protagonist. It's just their 9 to 5. I think changing the Animus was the first pillar to fall as the building slowly collapsed on the identity of this series. And while I still really enjoy some of the later releases, the Animus' huge change will forever stain the future releases of this franchise. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my patron Alex Applegate. If you'd like to make him feel less lonely over there on Patreon, link is in the description. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Sticks out.